ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं पूजयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोकभवति। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ओम विष्णुपादाय भगवते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रीमद् भागवतम कैंटो 7 chapter 9 verse 1. Prahlada pacifies Lord Narasimhadev with prayers. In Ardhavacha, एवं सुरादयः सर्वे ब्रह्मरुद्रपुरः सराः नोपैतुम् अशकन् मन्यो संरम्भम् सुदुरासदम्. Greatly Narada Muni continued, the demigods led by Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and other great demigods dared not come forward before the Lord, who at the time was extremely angry. Narottam Das Thakur has sung in his Prema Bhakti Chandrika, O Krodha Bhakta Dveshi Jane. Anger should be used to punish a demon who is envious of devotees. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya all have their proper use for the supreme devotee. Devotee of the Lord cannot tolerate blasphemy of the Lord or his other devotees. The Lord also cannot tolerate for devotee. Because Lord Narasimha was so very angry that the great demigods like Brahma, Shiva, and even goddess of fortune, who is the Lord's constant companion, could not pacify him even after offering prayers of glorification and praise. No one was able to pacify the Lord in his anger, but because the Lord was willing to exhibit his affection, all the demigods and others present before the Lord pushed Prahlada toward him. It's a very interesting point Prabhupada is making. All these great demigods have offered prayers. When generally somebody is glorified, you know, even if they are in not in angry, upset, whatever, that mood will come down, and then they'll show some affection towards those who have glorified, but no change. Narasimhadev still seems to be angry even after all the prayers. So finally, they figured that none of those prayers have actually appeased him. So they're pushing Prahlad Maharaj. साक्षात् श्री प्रेषिता देवैर् दृष्ट्वा तं महदद्भुतम् अदृष्टाश्रुतपूर्वत्वात् सा नोपेयाय संशंकिता. Goddess of fortune Lakshmi Ji was requested to go before the Lord by all the demigods present. Because of fear could not do so, but even she had never seen such a wonderful and extraordinary the Lord, and that she could not approach him. The Lord has unlimited forms and bodily features. These are all situated in Vaikuntha. Yet Lakshmi Devi, being inspired by Leela Shakti, could not appreciate this unprecedented God. So this is Maya. So because of which Lakshmi Devi is like, oh, I have never seen such a wonderful and extraordinary form. So she's also not going in front. Madhvacharya recites the following verses from Mahanda Purana. In other words, for the common men, the form of the Lord as Narasimha Devi is certainly unseen and wonderful. But for a devotee like Prahlada, such a fearsome form of the Lord is not at all extraordinary. The grace of the Lord, a devotee can very easily understand how the Lord can appear in any form he likes. Therefore, the devotee is never afraid of such a form. Because of special favor bestowed upon Prahlada, he remained silent and unafraid, even though all the demigods, including even Lakshmi Devi, were afraid of Lord Narasimha. This is just to show the class of devotion of Prahlad. Narayana para sarve kutashna bibhyati. Not only is pure devotee of Narayana like Prahlada, unafraid of any dangerous situation of material life, but also if the Lord appears in order to mitigate the fear of a devotee, devotee maintains his status of fearlessness in all circumstances. So devotees are not unafraid of any dangerous condition of material life. Anyway, knowing fully well that the Lord is behind them and He will take care of them. Rakshishati iti Vishwa. And also when the Lord appears, also devotee maintains a state of fearlessness because he understands the form of the Lord, knows understands the Lord's feelings. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvatah. So he knows the Lord in tattva. Prahadam preshayamasa brahmavasthitam antike tata prasamayo pehi tre kupitam prabhum. Therefore, Lord Brahma requested Prahlada, who was standing very near him. My dear son, Lord Narasimha is extremely angry at your demonic father. Please go forward and appease the Lord. They all did, they all tried, but it's not worked. So Brahmaji is saying, Prahlada, Narasimha is extremely angry at your demoniac father. Please appease him. Tateti shanakai rajan mahabhagavato nrpakaha bhagavatorbakaha upetya bhuvikayena nanama vidritanjalihi. Narada Muni continued, O king, although the exalted devotee Prahlada was only a little boy, he accepted Lord Brahma's words. Brahma is a great authority, great devotee, so his words have to be accepted. He gradually proceeded toward Lord Narasimhadev and fell down to offer his respectful obeisances with Swapadamule patitam tamarpakam vilokya deva kripaya परिप्लुतः उत्थाप्य उत्थाप्य तच्छीर्ष्णि अदधात् कराम्बुजं कालाहि वित्रस्त दियां कृताभयम्. And Lord Narasimhadev saw the small boy Prahlada prostrated at the soles of his lotus feet. Just by seeing him, he became most ecstatic in affection toward his devotee. Now, all these great demigods have been offering prayers one after the other, great personalities in the creation, did not move Lord Narasimhadev, and just Prahlada just fell flat, prostrated, the soles of the lotus feet of the Lord, and the Lord became most ecstatic. See, from intense anger to ecstasy in affection toward his devotee in an instant. Raising Prahlada, God placed his lotus hand upon the boy's head because the Lord's hand is always ready to create fearlessness in his devotee. We should not think that, okay, Prahlada was a 5-year-old boy, so Lord became, showing his affection. No, not because of his age, it's because of his devotion. Also, one more thing we have to remember, Lord's feet is always compared to lotus. So we say lotus feet. But actually, it is because there is no other material object which can be compared to his feet. So it's called lotus feet. And softness of his feet. Even though Narasimhadev has taken such a fearsome form, still his lotus feet are soft. His heart is also soft. Just that his heart was not soft towards Asura, Narasimhadev, like Hiranyakashipu. So nicely, he's just raised him, placed his lotus hand upon his head. The necessities of the material world are ahara, nidra, bhaya, maituna. Material world, everyone is in fearful consciousness. And the only means to make everyone fearless is Krishna conscious. When Lord Narasimhadev appeared, all the devotees became fearless. The devotee's hope of becoming fearless is to chant the holy name of Lord Narasimhadev. Yato yato yami tato Narasimha. Wherever we go, we must always think of Lord Narasimhadev. Thus, there will be no fear for the devotee of the Lord. Yeah, so just chant the holy name of Lord. सतत्करस्पर्शदुताखिला शुभा सपद्यभिव्यक्तपरात्मदर्शनः तत्पादपद्मं हृदि निर्वृतो ददौ हृष्यत्तनुः क्लिन्नहृदश्लोचनः. By the touch of Lord Narasimhadev's hand on Prahlada Maharaja's head, Prahlada was completely freed of all material contaminations and desire, as if he had been thoroughly cleansed. Therefore, he at once became transcendently situated, and all the symptoms of ecstasy became manifest in his body. His heart filled with love, and his eyes with tears, and thus he was able to completely capture the lotus. Amazing verse. Just by the touch of Lord Narasimhadev's hand, should not say just by the touch of Lord Narasimhadev's, not easy. Prahlad was completely freed of all material contaminations and desires, as if he had been thoroughly cleansed. Therefore, he at once became transcendently situated. So, this is what happens when we come in touch with the Supreme Lord. One becomes transcendently situated in ecstasy. Automatically, all the symptoms of ecstasy became manifest in his body. His heart filled with love. Materially, our hearts are filled with kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. No place for love. When heart becomes filled with love, eyes become filled with tears. And the heart becomes filled with thoughts of the Lord. So you say completely capture the lotus feet of the Lord within the core of it. Said in Bhagavad Gita, Mam cha yo abhyabhitarena bhakti yoga. You have to do abhyabhicharini bhakti. Full devotional service without distraction. Elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Mami partha vyapashita yepi papayonaha. Tepi yanti param gatim. Anybody can approach supreme destination when they take shelter of. Now, the sense of these verses, it is evident that though Prahlada was born in a demonic family and although virtually demonic blood flowed within his body, he was cleansed of all material bodily contamination because of his exalted position as a devotee. So Prahlada was already fully pure. In other words, such impediments on the spiritual path could not stop him from progressing. He was directly in touch with the Supreme Lord. Those who are physically and mentally contaminated by atheism cannot be situated on the transcendental platform. But as soon as one is free from material contamination, he is immediately fit to be situated in devotional service. So this is the liberated state, Brahmabhuta Prasannatma. Brahmabhuta is this state of mukti, free from material contamination. Mad bhaktim labate param. Mad bhaktim. So we will get devotion. And what kind of devotion is that? This is loving devotion. This is raganuga bhakti. But for that, we have to come to the stage of nishtha, which is the stage of liberation. Now, we might be wondering, oh, okay, then how am I going to get the touch of Lord Narasimhadev's hand? What is the answer? How are we going to get this bliss, this ecstasy? What is the process for us?
Hare Krishna, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, intense devotional service.
Okay. More specific.
Hearing pastimes of the Lord.
More specific. Anybody else? What is the process to achieve this? Hare Krishna. What is this? No answer. Chanting the holy names of the Lord. This is our process. We cannot forget it. How are we going to be transcendently situated in ecstasy? By chanting the holy names of Krishna. Chanting the holy name, because the holy name is not different from the Lord, non different from the touch of the Lord. It is non different. Hmm. So we have to understand that simply by being in touch with the Lord. But the important point is that we have to be in touch with Him, meaning we have to do the process. Even we will be completely freed from all material contamination, desires, and one day all symptoms of ecstasy will manifest in our body. Heart will become filled with love, eyes filled with tears, heart filled with the Supreme Lord. And this is where we have to get. This is our goal. This is bhava, right? But for us to reach, come in contact with the Lord, who is holy name. But we want to come in contact with the holy name of the Lord. Hmm. So the process of chanting, if we are neglectful, if we are inattentive, then we are not in touch with the Lord. That is why we require attentive chanting, right? And so we have to do chanting with attention, with full attention, knowing that this is the only way. Nasteva, nasteva, nasteva gatiranyata. There's no other way. And the best time to do this chanting is Brahmamurta. Mm. And we might be doing anything else, but we are not going to make sufficient spiritual progress unless our chanting improves. Mm. So don't become too busy in life. Don't become so busy in life that you don't have quality 2 hours for chanting. Then whole life is wasted. If you don't have time for quality 2 hours of chanting, whatever else we do is not going to help us. Mm. And that quality 2 hours is required in the morning. No other, no other option. You have to go very early in the to office in the morning. Yeah, then still this is the only way. There's no other way, right? So we have to make sure that we can put all away. And why should it be the first thing in the morning? Because it requires 100% of our energy. When we get up in the morning, we are full of energy. We're not drained out. So we should put our full energy in chanting. Why do we require to put full energy? Because the mind will go here, there. To pull it back requires a lot of energy. Concentrating requires energy. So we have to do it in the morning. And then because we do it in the morning, then we'll also get some support from the environment, from the time of the day. So understand that this is where we see. We should not read these verses of Bhagavatam and say, "Oh wow, okay, Prahlad was a great devotee." Of course, he was a great devotee, but why should there be description of his, devotional ecstasy? What is the need for these kind of descriptions in Bhagavatam? What is the need for these kind of descriptions in Bhagavatam? Anybody?
Prabhuji, can you repeat the question?
What is the need for these kind of descriptions of what Prahlad is experiencing? What is his devotional ecstasy? Why is all this required?
Yeah, so that we also get these experiences by some means. We get inspiration to
We
try
have to
to.
intensely desire these things. When we hear these things, we should feel, wow, I mean, I also want to reach this. And it has to become that intense. It has to become greed. And that is the reason why we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam. The two reasons we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam. One is that we will be constantly in touch with the Supreme Lord because Supreme Lord is there on pretty much every page of Srimad Bhagavatam. Then second is to get that inspiration, to get that greed, that desire, greed. Mm. And when we compare ourselves, our current situation to this transcendental situation, we should feel really, on one side sorry, at the same time determined to make progress. Astau Shri धरिमेकाग्र मनसा सुसमाहितः प्रेम गद्गदया वाचा तन्यस्त हृदये क्षणः. Prahlada fixed his mind and sight upon Lord Narasimha with attention in complete trance. With fixed mind, he began to offer prayers. How? With a faltering voice. His mind and sight upon the Lord who was in front of him. Prema Gadgadaya. Very, very beautiful word. Gadgada is faltering. Prema, because of prema. Yeah, in a faltering voice, in a shaking voice. He started speaking. And this is what is required. Susamahitaha. Very attentive, fully fixed. This is how we need to chant. The ability to fix the mind in this way is a result of yoga, siddhi, mystic perfection. Dhyana avastita tadhyana jena manasam yogi. Attains yogic perfection when he is free from all material diversions and his mind is fixed upon the Lord. This is samadhi. Fixed means fixed. Prahlada attained that stage beyond the senses because he was engaged in service. He constantly listened. Naturally, his mind and attention became saturated in transcendence. Saturated means what? Um, like soaked. Like a sponge is soaked. Like that. Consciousness should be soaked, saturated in transcendence. That condition, he began to offer his prayers. Now, so this process, is it relevant for us? This yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. So this is this dharana, dhyana, samadhi relevant for us? Anybody knows what dharana is?
I think this is a natural second nature
No, no, no.
when it becomes natural to.
No, no. So dharana means in the process of Ashtanga Yoga. So what happens is then pratyahara. Pratyahara means being away from material things, material desires, etc. So keeping ourselves away from that. And then there is dharana. Dharana means like wearing in one sense. So now away from material consciousness, from material thoughts, then the yogi starts to think about the Supreme Lord. But this dharana will be broken. He is trying to focus his mind, then it breaks. Trying to focus his mind breaks. But what is he trying? He is trying to bring the mind back to the object of his meditation. Then by repeated practice of dharana, then the yogi comes to the stage of dhyana. Now in this dhyana, the dharana, the meditation becomes a little more smooth, little more fixed. In dharana it keeps breaking. In dhyana it becomes little fixed, more fixed. In samadhi it becomes fully, deeply fixed without like no external consciousness at all, no connection with the outside world. In dhyana there will be still, but more or less fixed on the object of meditation. In samadhi, gone, trance, no external consciousness at all. Okay, so now my question is, I described what is dharana, dhyana, samadhi is. Is this relevant for us or not? If
Yes.
so, why? If not, why?
Yeah, very relevant project.
Why?
Because we want to remain in that state. Otherwise, this state will never be fixed. So, and it's a mode of practice. For
What are
example,
we doing? Where we
uh,
practice this?
yeah, continuous hearing of Lord's pastimes, and then, as you said, chanting with the fixed mind to hear the word nama more, so that the heart gets cleansed of the attachment to these unwanted things, and then slowly that layer goes, then mind starts sticking to the devotional service, uh, to know more about Lord, and then we advance in that state.
So this dharana, dhyana, samadhi is also part of our chanting process.
Yes, yeah.
So the while we are thinking that we should not think that these are just stages in Ashtanga Yoga. These are also some things which happen in the Nama Japa also, chanting. So what we are expected to do is dharana is to first in the beginning stage we have to hear the Nama, right? So we hear the Nama, then it breaks. We hear the Nama, then it breaks. We hear the Nama, then it breaks. Right? Mind is going here, there, everywhere. Then we have to keep continuously trying. Practice, 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 practice. Here, 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 here. Then what happens? Slowly, this dhyana on the Nama becomes smooth. Okay, when this happens, then we enter into higher stages of chanting.
Mm.
I'm not going to talk about that right now, but then there is a whole process of going deeper and deeper into chanting. Okay, but before we can talk about any higher stage of chanting, we have to first come to fixed state of hearing the Nama. So we have to remain focused on hearing the Nama continuously. Of course, like I said, it's almost continuous, meaning there might be breaks here and there, but very few. Mm. Then we can enter into the next stage of. Don't want to talk about the next stage because then devotees will, yeah, might confuse devotees. So the process is to hear the Nama attentively, continuously during chanting. Right? That is that is the stage of dhyana on the Nama. We have to come to that. That is why it's called mantra dhyana, mantra meditation. Mantra meditation basically is this meditating on the sound of the Nama. So we have to put the same effort, very attentive. We have to be fully fixed. Only then we can go to this stage of samadhi. We have to go to this stage of samadhi. What it means to be in samadhi, etc. We'll discuss time. But we have to be very attentive and fully fixed. That is, go through this dharana dhyana process. It will take years to actually kind of perfect this chanting. That's why it requires so much of energy, effort. Otherwise, we can't move forward. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think in this connection, that verse from Bhagavad Gita is relevant, Proji, right? That when Krishna answers that Asanshayam Mahabaho Manah Durnigraham Chalam Abhyasen tu Kaunteya, right?
Yeah,
Vairagyarcha Griyate. So
sadhana.
practice is like we have to, as you said, that once we hear the name, it might not stick. Again here, again here. So which I have observed in my chanting, Prabhuji, sometimes it happens, sometimes, not always, that when I start chanting, the first two rounds will be little ineffective. But the moment it goes to seventh or eighth round of chanting, seventh or eighth cycle, that becomes more deeper, and I can
Mm,
feel that that chanting finished very soon also. uh,
mm,
One thing which I realized in my case, that if you are very deeply attached to chanting, that round will go like as if 1 minute has just happened, right? And some
mm,
rounds where your attachment of to nama is not there, or maybe mind is distracted, it will take longer.
mm,
So I what I do is sometimes I think that the round is taking too long. I just either you know start doing I stop the chanting, I go and read Bhagavatam so that the mind comes back. This is one technique I have applied and it helps. Or the another thing is that if it is not coming back due to that reason, then I leave chanting for some time. I go have a round of walk, come back, and then again chant. So basically this is one observation, that when the attachment to hearing is more, then rounds happen just like water flows in Ganges, right? It's like you don't have to put effort on that, and then you
mm.
don't feel like stopping also sometimes. But it happens it doesn't happen every day. It happens sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So the solution for bad chanting is more chanting. That's all Prabhupada said. Okay. So anyway, so point is that dharana and dhyana has to happen in our chanting consistently 16 rounds. Then we can think about going to stages of devotion. And as that happens, as we get closer to that stage, actually all the cleansing happens. So then there are, yeah, other things that have to happen during chanting, which we will talk about it. Okay. Okay. So Prahlad Maharaj is starting his prayers. Okay, we'll do. Radhuvacha Brahmadaya Suragana Munayota Siddhaha Sattvaikatana Katayo Vachasam Pravahaihi Naraditum Purugunair Adhunapi Pipruhu Kim Tostum Arhati Sa Harirugra Chate. Prahlada prayed. How is it possible for me, who have been born in a family of asuras, to offer suitable prayers to satisfy you? Even until now, all the demigods headed by Lord Brahma and all the saintly persons could not satisfy the Lord by streams of excellent words, although such persons are very qualified in the mode of goodness. What is to be said of me? I am not at all qualified. Now, Vaishnava is fully qualified, things like this. Vaishnava is not qualified, thinks that he is qualified. Vaishnava is fully qualified, thinks he is not qualified. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, Jagai Madai Oite Mui Papishta Purushera Ita Aite Mui Lagishta. Like Jagai and Madai are much, much better than me. I am worse, more sinful than me. And even the worm in a stool, I'm lower than a worm in a stool. Pure Vaishnava actually thinks of himself this way. It's not some drama. It's not some drama. Why does he think like that? Why does he think that he is lower than worm in stool? Because he feels that he has not got the mercy of the Lord. He wants to see the Lord. He wants to. come in direct contact with the Lord, and it's not happening. All right, it happens once, and then he loses the contact with the Lord, and he's distressed, and he thinks that I'm so horrible, I'm so low class, I'm so offensive, and he genuinely feels that. Of course, unless we go into that higher stages of devotion where we can understand what we are expected, what level we are expected to reach, and that we have not reached that level, only then this genuineness will come. Because all of them are Nitya Siddhas, right, Goswamis, but they're showing us, sadhakas, that this stage we have to reach. That is why Trinada Sunitena. Otherwise, we'll think, I am so great. Similarly, although Prahlada was a pure, exalted Vaishnava, he thought himself most unqualified to offer prayers. Mahajana Yanagata Sambandha. Every pure Vaishnava should think like this. One should not be falsely proud of qualifications. Satranada Pisunich. Only in such a state of mind one can chant the holy name of the Lord. And the holy name of the Lord constantly means both chant and also hear. Unless one is meek and humble, to make progress in spiritual life is very difficult. It is very, very important. Again, we've been discussing this. We saw one verse in Prahlada. Pleasant, he was pleasant, meek and humble. So we have to develop these qualities. At least we should desire develop these qualities. We should hanker after these qualities. So first of all, we have to think that, okay, this is what I want. We all have to have this desire, saying that I want to become a really humble, uh, advanced Vaishnava. That's what I want to be. We are far from that, but we should desire. We can just be humble and not come to the stage of advancement. That is not good. Because this humility can take us in the wrong direction also. For example, somebody gives a service, we'll say, I'm so fallen, Prabhu, I don't want this service. Humility is false. That's not going to help us make progress. We take up service, but we'll feel I'm worthless. I have no capability. Only if Krishna gives me mercy, I will be able to do this. Otherwise, we can't make progress. Actually, I want to make one very one deep point. Okay, it might be very contrary to what you might be thinking is the progress in devotion. So, is it that one, if a devotee is happy in Krishna consciousness, or he's happy, he's generally happy? Okay, does that indicate a sign of progress, or somebody seems distressed, not for himself, but for Krishna? What is considered more exalted?
The later one.
Why?
Because that consciousness is important, Proji. It's not the distress part or the joyful part, because that is duality. Like from our understanding of how we perceive distress or how we perceive as happiness, we normally think it in a dual way, right? But
But Prabhupada
on
said
the
chant and be happy.
yeah, chant and be happy, but that happiness can also come in the distress, because gopis was also distressed when Lord Krishna used to walk on the forests of
Okay,
Vrindavan. They
okay.
used to feel pain. So that was an ecstasy, and that ecstasy can happen in a distress also, but that is spiritual distress. So that is the advanced stage of
Hmm.
bhakti than a person who is maybe starting to chant
Okay.
in a
Okay.
neophyte.
Let me rephrase my question.
Hmm.
Suppose say you are not experiencing any happiness in in life, right?
Yeah.
Generally, first is, we have like so many material problems and we're unhappy. And then we come into devotion and then we're not experiencing happiness. We have so many worries and concerns. You have to do this, I have to do that, this has to be done, that has to be done, this is not happening, that's not happening. And we're not experiencing any happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what, what will the devotee think? Okay, let's give a chance to
Yeah.
others. Vamsi Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Pranam.
Yeah.
Prabhu, I think, combination of both is very important, is what I feel, because, like you rightly mentioned, maybe if it's a neophyte devotee, they would expect and look for some change or some happiness through this practice.
Hmm.
That is also required. And in the
Hmm.
advanced stages, definitely distress should be the mood, because we are so fallen, and the kind of I mean, we should be feeling the separation from Lord. So that once that comes in, I mean, that is the right mood for us to have the further progress. So that's what
Okay, good.
I'm thinking
Nicely
from.
summarized. So, see, because it's important that we should not think that, oh, the situation is distressful. No, I can't be happy. Oh, materially, already I have so many problems. Now I came into devotion and then I'm not able to experience that happiness. Maybe I should give up some service. Maybe I should become a little more peaceful. Maybe, I should like so many people who are so chilling in devotion. Maybe I should also chill. No, that sense gratification. But yes, like Vamshi Prabhu said, initially, Krishna gives us some mercy. When we come to Krishna consciousness, start devotion, etc., we will experience some happiness. No, but that's not our ultimate state. As in, of course, I mean, this is understandable for us, saying that how spiritual distress is happiness. I'm not going to talk about that right now because it's way beyond my adhikara to speak. Okay, but at least that uh, yeah, distress or even tension, worry, pressure, all this is acceptable. In fact, if it is not there, it means that we are taking bhakti very lightly. Which is why when I say go out of your comfort zone, when you go out of your comfort zone, you'll experience all this. No, you might experience fear, you might experience tension, you might experience worry, all this. But because it is for the Lord, it is more, it is a higher stage of development, of advancement than simply being happy. But it doesn't mean that we should be like sad and you know not like that. But don't consider happiness as a gauge, as a standard. Happiness is just the initial stage of devotion. When we come to liberation, then we become free from material distress and material. We become materially free mentally. Then that can be some amount of happiness. As we make progress, it's not that we should do devotional activities such that I will continue to remain happy. No. And it should be just done for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna, whatever it is, whatever easy or difficult. We have to come out of our comfort zone. Again and again, I'm telling this, we have to come out of our comfort zone. And we have to feel this devotional distress. Mm. So it's not that learning and happiness are not indicators of a successful spiritual life. They are not the indicators. That's what we think, right? Oh, people are so learned and they seem to be happy. Okay. Yeah. But doesn't mean that that's the end. It's one stage. But higher stage is anxiety for the Lord. For Lord. Okay, so I'll stop there. Any questions, comments, we can. Okay, before we go back to Prabhu, anybody else has anything to share? You should all express your thoughts. If you want, we can stop the recording.